Joe Fournier, Jake Paul, what is the situation here? Because I saw a lot of stuff going on social media, but what's actually going on with this?
No, what it is, BJ Flores is Jake Paul's coach, and BJ has been telling me over the last few months how good Jake Paul is, and that he wants to turn professional, and he's been sparring with this pro, that pro, and he's given a real good account of himself against like legitimate professionals. And I'm like, that's great, but he's a YouTube star. I'm sure he's got a lot of followers and big influencer, but it's got really nothing really to do with boxing, especially amateur boxing. If you want to do a celebrity YouTube thing with the big gloves and get your crowd in, that's great. But there's a professional game against a professional. Joe Fournier, had a load of unlicensed fights in his early 30s, and then turned professional. Had 10 professional fights. He won the WBA international title, the same belt Joshua Buatsi has at light heavyweight. So I've watched him spar James DeGale and Chris Eubank Jr. and always gives a decent account of himself. So I'm like, you can't really start picking on like 10-0 professional boxers. I get your guy's good. I get that. He's an athlete. He said, he can run this time. He can do jump like this. I'm like, I'm sure he can, and I'm sure he's a fantastic athlete. But boxing's a different sort of thing, particularly professional boxing. It's such a hard sport, and if he's going to start trying to throw Jake Paul, who I'm sure is a lovely guy, but that could potentially go very, very badly for everybody. We're trying to get boxing back, and you put like a YouTuber in against a professional boxer who's 10-0, then the 10-0 guy kills Jake Paul. Everyone's like, boxing, you can't do that. That's not, this is terrible. It could set the sport back just because, there's a guy who wants to do. He should do something else, do some other prank or something on YouTube if he wants to get some more notoriety with, get his likes up or get his following out there. I'm sure he's got like hundreds of millions of followers. His brother's super famous as well. But it's one thing. Fight another one of the YouTubers, but let's not start talking about the professional. Because Joe's in Mykonos now on a boat, and he's like, this YouTuber guy thinks he can beat me. He's like, yeah, Tim, I'll bet him £1 million. He went, I'll bet him £1 million, and I'll bet BJ $1 million. That winner.
And he's deadly serious as well.
Deadly serious. He said, yeah. He said, get me an escrow account. I'll transfer the money now. I'm like, relax, man. Just enjoy Mykonos. He's like, no, seriously, set it up. I'll fight. I'm like, he really wants to do it, but I hope BJ hasn't talked Jake Paul into like a situation where he could get badly hurt, because nobody wants that. It'd be funny, but not if he gets hurt. Getting knocked out is one thing, but because when someone doesn't have the conditioning to take the punches in the head, that's why you have commissions. That's why there's amateur boxing, which is bad enough at the higher level. Then you have professional boxing, 10-ounce gloves on, guys who've been sparring time and time again. You get conditioned in your neck, and your face gets conditioned. And if you haven't been conditioned, you can get badly hurt in this game. So although it's all fun and games, people jump in sport. Let me try doing some boxing. Yeah, let me fight a real pro who's 10-0. I'm like, slow down. But if he wants to do it, then it's a weird thing that seems to be happening. I think random things seem to be happening now from this lockdown. Everyone's sort of lost their mind. Everyone's sitting at home thinking, I should be a boxer. I can be a real professional boxer. And he'll end up being in a ring with some 10-ounce gloves on and a 10-0 pro boxer ready to come and smash him, and then he'll be in there for like 8-10 rounds in a real pro fight. When you got potentially £2 million on the line of your own money to do it, it changes things. It's interesting. It's just silly. These some of these guys. Is it disrespectful for a YouTube guy to want to have a professional boxing match against a professional boxer? Do you think it's a disrespectful thing? And do you think he deserves to get his ass kicked for that?
I don't know about deserving to get his ass kicked for that, but I suppose you could look at it two ways.
If the fight was made and he just got absolutely smashed and stretched it out, would you go, that'll stop the other guys coming? Or, you wouldn't feel that bad, would you? You'd laugh. You'd laugh at least.
No. Look, these YouTube stars who have been fighting each other. So you're right, them fighting actual professional boxers, whoever that may be. And Joe Fournier, like I said, he's had a wealth of unlicensed fights, and he's had 10 pro fights, but that's still 10 pro fights more than
10 training camps.
Yeah,
real
10 training camps, well, more so than
10-ounce gloves trying to knock his head off. So it's I don't know. It's one of those things that so it's going to go bad. It's going to go bad sooner or later. It's going to go bad, I think. And Joe wants it to be this time. Joe wants to be against him. He's on a boat in Mykonos. He's literally FaceTimed me earlier. Make it happen. Tell me where to transfer the money. I'm like, relax, just enjoy it. He lives in Mykonos now. He's drinking every night. I don't know why he wants to do this. He's that confident. He's like, I'll drink every day. I don't care.
So the 2 million, the 1 million for Jake Paul, and it's a
bet.
bet. That's a bet. That's not,
Forget about the post. I'll bet you £1 million a piece. So if I win, I get 2 million.
Yeah.
And if I lose, I lose 2 million.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, let's see. But when you start putting real money like that out there, Jake's gonna then go, why is this guy so confident? Maybe he knows something I don't know. I'm not sure if BJ would want to put up £1 million. What's that? $1.2 million, something like that now. Today's exchange rate. Yeah. Even if they round it down to $1 million, it's still significant dough for, I'm not sure Jake Paul can cover that. He gets millions for doing tweets and stuff. So I don't even know why we're talking about it. So
I'm just interested. I saw it all coming up on social media the other day, and I'm going to get hold of Joe over the next couple of days, and I do want to actually find out about his side of this, and we'll see.
Maybe Jake just looks at his lifestyle, seeing him flying around his private jet, seeing Duke, his dog, eating Wagyu beef 3 times a day. I never known anyone's dog to eat Wagyu beef, but the dog only eats Wagyu beef. It's hilarious. Maybe he sees that and thinks, this guy's not real. But I've seen him. I've sparred with him. He's a real fighter. So maybe they're looking at his Instagram and judging him by sitting him down, drinking champagne on a private jet, and thinking that's who he is. But he used to play international basketball. He used to play for England basketball. He's an athlete. So I think, anyway, there you go. So that's enough of that.